we're back. Man.
Our next guest has quite a resume,
Yes,
so I am going to give him a proper introduction. Many of you know him. This is Mr. Polny. He is based out of Newport Beach, California. He is a prominent and experienced cycles timing analyst in the gold, silver, and cryptocurrency markets. He is the founder and face behind Gold 2020 Forecast, which has over, 11 million views now on YouTube. His website is gold2020forecast.com, and he has been featured on network television shows, including CNBC Crypto Trader, Kitco.com, USA Watchdog. He's also been a guest on Elijah Streams. Welcome. And His Glory. He's been a guest on His Glory many times.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. I love speaking with both of you, so thank you, Pastor Dave. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you.
It erupted when you were out there and spoke.
Yeah, everyone crazy. It was good. Everybody was so excited. It's just that everybody wants to hear good news, and that's honestly what the Bible's all about. Good news. And as horrible as things look. It looks terrible out there, but so did it look for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They got thrown in the fire, and then what happened in the fire?
Jesus came.
That's right. Okay, so we're in the 50-year Jubilee cycle. Yes. We're at birth already. Okay, so we've passed the birthing time point, which would have been December 21, the summer solstice, and 4 days after that, Roe v. Wade was overturned, and we are like at this birthing moment of this incredible time point here on Earth. We're like right here. We're at the day and the hour moment. We just don't know the day or the hour moment, and we're here, and as crazy as this world looks, as horrible as it looks, everything is about to change. Everything's about to change, and all of the words that you have given, Amanda, are all about to come to pass. Everything.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, it's just because God needs how long? One day, right? So everything looks horrible. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are about to die, and then Jesus Christ shows up, and everything changes. Daniel is thrown in a lion's den, and then by the morning, he's still alive, and everything changes. You can go story after story in the Bible, and everything changes in 24 hours. So we're just waiting for this moment in time, Isaiah 61 moment. This is the year of the Lord's favor. This is the 50-year Jubilee. We are here right now, and we're at birth. And so we just don't know that exact moment in time of Isaiah 61, where you mentioned, Pastor Dave, on our last interview. Jesus Christ was in the temple. He read the scroll, Isaiah 61, and he stopped on a comma.
Yep.
Because the next line was the day of the Lord's vengeance, and it wasn't the time. So Jesus Christ didn't read it. It's truly incredible.
It is.
And the more even incredible part, which just came to recently, is, with the Roe v. Wade being overturned on this birthing of this new era, that date was prophesied by Haggai. It's written in Haggai 1. The 24th day of the 6th month of the second year of Darius. Second year of the decade is 2022. So how incredible is our God? He does nothing before first speaking through his servants, the prophets. And thus, we sit here with Amanda and, all these prophecies that you have spoken, none of God's word will go void.
No.
Everything you have stated, God has stated through you, will come to pass. And I remember the prophecy that you gave in October of 2020.
That was the Clash of the Titans word, October 6, 2020, yes.
Yeah. There will be a clash of the Titans in Washington, a clash like you will never forget. And and also remember, God's a loving God. He loves his creation. As much as the evil ones are doing evil, horrendous things, he created them, right? So he loves them, but he's also judge. Right, and so what was the ending part of your prophecy of October year 20? Right, it said, "Come back, my wayward sheep." So he's given them time to come back to me, my wayward sheep. But at this point, it's like Pharaoh and Israel. They've dug in their heels. Their heels are dug in. They refuse to repent, and they don't want to turn back from their wicked ways.
October 2022 will be 2 years from that prophecy, the 2-year window that was given,
Yeah, so we're at God has given the time for the wayward sheep to come back. They've most virtually all have not. They've all they continue to go in the direction of Baal. And like I've stated before on numerous things, even on your show, we've talked about the double-sided coin. How a coin has two sides, the heads and the tails. So we're going to take this year. This will be factual. We're going to take this year, and the tails would be of January to June. And June just happened to be, they chose, not us. They called June Pride Month.
Right.
And what does it say in the Bible? Amanda, you said this on one of our interviews. What comes before the fall?
Pride. And yep, somebody fell on his bike in the month of June in Delaware.
That's right. It's none of this is coincidence. That's what the world needs to understand. God's a God of time and seasons, and it's perfect timing. And everything is perfect timing, just like when he speaks through his prophets. It's precision of the use of word or words. Everything is precision, and so is his timing. And so, pride cometh before the fall. And then what happened 6 days into July? The other side of the coin began. So July began the next 6 months. 6 days into July, what happened?
The Guidestones.
The Guidestones went down. And it's very interesting because I was just before the show, Amanda and I, we were looking at the video slide by slide. It's very interesting because I believe the official narrative I was reading was a lightning strike. Again, we looked at the video slide by slide, and you'll notice there is a light that shines on the Guidestones. And as that Guidestone exploded, the light that shines on it increased in intensity, and as the explosion got bigger, the light went higher. So the light almost went tenfold in intensity as the stone exploded. So my question would be, if an explosion went off, what does that have to do with a light going on intensity, unless there's a electrical event going on, such as a lightning strike? So those that are, go watch the video, and you'll see slide by slide that light went higher in intensity exactly as the explosion went off, indicating that it was probably a lightning strike. And then the next day in the Philippines, a lightning struck obelisk, one of their obelisks. You know that the next day?
No.
Yeah. So in the Philippines, the next exact day, which is like yesterday, 2 days ago, a lightning struck an obelisk in the Philippines and broke the top off of it, or put a huge damage on the top of the obelisk. So basically, this is foreshadowing the destruction of them, of their kingdoms. This is all foreshadowing. And we talked about Haggai, right? So Haggai 1 talked about, 2,500 years ago, how the 24th of June was a powerful date. Well, incredibly, if you could read the next Haggai verse, because Haggai 2, on the 21st day of the 7th month, July, he talks about the glory. It's actually referenced, he uses the word the glory. What are we waiting for? The glory, his glory. So, and then this, it's incredible because it resonates with the prophet Kim Clement. Because what month are we in? July. What did Kim say about July? Strange July, strange July. And that we're in summer. Summer says, I will be, read the prophecy of the seasons. Summer says, I will be the mediator between spring and fall, so that the fall can do its work in America. All of this is coming to pass. And then that takes me further, which we talked about on stage. Let's stick with Haggai. Haggai 2, the next verse, verses 18 through 19. But Haggai 2, I think it's verses 18 through 19, states, on the 24th day of the 9th month of the 2nd year of Darius. Do you realize that's Elul 29? That is the last day of the 50th year of God's year. What happened to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was until in the fire Jesus showed up. So I'm just telling you, as this year comes to as God's year comes to completion, expect the extraordinary, the unexpected to become reality. The impossible actually to become possible, and all of their plans crumble.
We're seeing it happen right
We
before
are
our
seeing
eyes.
it.
Talk about the Georgia Guidestones. What you were getting something too about the Georgia Guidestones and how that, because that technically the Georgia Guidestones, it's important because it's basically their blueprint to their plans on Earth, wasn't it? And how that relates to prophecy, Amanda.
Yeah, it was erected in 1979, I believe. And the interesting thing about it is it was May 24th, 2021, where the Lord had said that he was going to knock their cornerstone out of joint, and he was going to destroy it, what had been constructed, down to this wicked foundation they had constructed. The interesting part about this happening is in the book of Judges with Gideon, I remember right when the election happened, the Lord said to me, there's a barley loaf headed for their camp. But for that barley loaf to hit, Gideon, because it was in a dream, the barley loaf, and it represented what was going to happen to the Midianites for everything they had stolen for so many years. And I remember saying to you, sidebar, that what did Gideon have to do before all of this happened? He had to go and tear down the altar.
Yeah.
He had to go and tear it down and dedicate that area to the Lord first. That high place, that altar had to come down first. That's what we're seeing happen. It's being torn. So rest assured, the barley loaf is coming. It is headed for their
It's already
camp.
going through the camp.
It's on its way to the camp.
But and that's so powerful because if you take down, this is a complete symbol of what God's going to do to them and their plans. It's incredible, and and in history, Ecclesiastes, that which has been will be again. We are watching time replay itself with different characters, different events, but similar and to nearly exact timelines. How this is all playing out. So Leviticus talks very clearly about the year of the Lord's favor. We know that was on stage. I kind of made basically a little analogy of how these people are playing baseball against God. 3 strikes and you're out. And they're out. 3 strikes and they are out of the United States. First strike was Roe v. Wade. Next strike that's about to happen here very shortly, probably the next 60 days this summer. Okay, do not be surprised if we see the collapse of the U.S. dollar, the fall of the U.S. dollar. Okay, that's strike 2. Well, why is that so critically important? Because the collapse of the dollar directly allows them to enable themselves. It's the billions of dollars, the trillions of dollars, as these billionaires and trillionaires have allowed the building of this financial system of the harlot in the past 50 years, since they took us off the gold standard. So because the dollar itself loses its world reserve status, that's the fall of Goliath. That's the fall of the statue. That's the fall of Goliath. That's been prophesied by Daniel 2,500 years ago. And that will be strike 2. Strike 3 and they're out. This last strike is the takedown of they fall and fall. This will be the fall of Klaus Schwab and his World Economic Forum and all the minions that work for him, or in their case, they consider themselves billionaires. But when the dollar falls, that's going to be the third strike, is the fall of the people that run the world, because the bribes and the payoffs will no longer work once the dollar loses its world reserve status. So 3 strikes, and they will all go down this year. It's going to be an incredible year, a year the world's never going to forget.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah.
It is. I think in that, I don't remember much of what I prophesied today from the Lord, but I remember he talked about taking 3 stones.
Yep.
3
Really?
stones, yep. And I don't know what was said after that, but he was going to take 3 stones.
And broke a chain.
Yeah, that was, so.
And I heard you telling me that also you prophesied this morning about Starbucks.
Yep.
The Lord got very mad about that. So that came out.
And interesting, Starbucks was also founded in 71, so that's another 50-year
I
cycle.
did not know.
didn't
So
know
this
that.
is coming out of my mouth from the Lord. And he says to me, do you realize when this was founded?
71, right?
Wow.
So everything they built in 71, including the Epcot Center and Disney's attached to this because of their Disney's in their 50-year Jubilee cycle, okay? So everything of 50 that they started in 71, again, remember, God's calendar began on Rosh Hashanah, September 6th, ends this September 24th, 2022. We are in the 50, we're physically in the 50-year Jubilee cycle at birth here. There's like less than 90 days to go. We are here right now. So everything they resurrected and birthed in 71 will come to its knees and will be destroyed. And this is the fall of the harlot. You know, we basically are going to have an incredible year, but everything they built must come down because we're seeing a birth of a new era. Okay, so that's like, you know, the birth of Jesus, right? The clocks went from BC to AD. That's how powerful that time point was. We're seeing the birth of God's kingdom here. Jesus Christ is not coming back this year, okay? But we're seeing the glory. We're going to see the glory manifest before Christ returns. And the glory event is the third seal, the greatest financial event in history, the fall of Goliath. It's the 50-year Jubilee cycle. It's all of those things piled up in one, and we're about to see all of this go down because God's going to give his church the bride blessings. Because what comes before a wedding? Blessings. We get blessed in preparation for the royal wedding that's coming. And so we're watching all these things unfold. But like I said, what they built cannot stand. That's why these Guidestones went down. Because it was their representation of what their plans were. That's like the Statue of Liberty, like
That's next.
the Washington.
Yeah, I
Washington,
remember the Lord talking about this.
about that.
Yes.
Washington, D.C., I'm sure you've mentioned that as well, too, possibly in your prophecies. But the point is, you know, Washington, D.C., go look at the streets. They're all built on 33-degree angles, okay? It's built by the Masons. What they built cannot remain in this coming kingdom. God's bringing, Matthew states, thy kingdom come. So you can't have, in God's kingdom is a kingdom economy, a finances backed by gold and silver. So we're going to have a kingdom economy because Deuteronomy says we're to be the lenders to the nations, not the debtors. We're enslaved. They've enslaved us. So everything flips and everything they've built must be destroyed. So all I'm telling you is things that they've resurrected, the obelisks, these monuments, Washington, things that they have resurrected, you know, the papacy, meaning like, you know, the Pope, everything they put together, that comes down. It's all got to come down because then we have a birthing of a new kingdom, a godly kingdom based on God.
Amen. So thank you, Bo. It's been a
Thank you,
blessing.
Bo.
It's going
Thank
to be
you.
exciting times. We giddy up now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Buckle up. All right, we'll be back right after this.
God bless.